Hey guys, so my tonight's viewing was An American Haunting that came out in 2005 that had Sissy Spacek and Donald Sutherland in it. Now, this is one of those movies that I never heard anything about. It came in a box set that had like four other movies, like The Eye, The Haunting of Connecticut, and what's the other one? Oh, The Others. It's this set. So it came in the set of four with this. And I didn't expect much going into this movie, and with the ratings it got, I was like, with the critic ratings and the ratings of like people online, I'm like, I don't know if I'll love this, but I still want to see it because it had Sissy Spacek in it and Donald Sutherland. Of course, I've got to see it because they're both awesome. Like, they're great actors, and I think that they could, in some ways, in some ways, elevate movies like this. And honestly, their performances were really good. I thought that this was a good performance piece. But it suffers from being just really forgettable. Like, this is a really forgettable possession movie. It came out in 2005, which, right whenever this came out, I think the Amityville Horror remake starring Ryan Reynolds came out, which I think is a way better movie than this, and I think and some people don't even love that movie either, but I like that one more than this one. This one to me was not very interesting. It didn't have much to pull me in, you know? It was just always pretty normal in the possession aspect of the movie, but the performances in it still held my interest, if that makes sense. Like, it held my interest in how the performances were good, but the possession parts were just like anything else you've seen in these possession movies. It's just like the little girl gets possessed, flies around the room, she floats, and it's not anything different, and it's definitely a poor man's version of The Exorcist, where it's like not very interesting characters, but the acting in this is still really good, but the characters aren't interestingly written. They're just alright. They're just there. But the acting, though, like I said, is really good. Like, Sissy Spacek and Donald Sutherland are great. Like, Sissy Spacek, it's hard to say that name, Sissy Spacek especially, is really good in this, and I feel like she does elevate this movie a little bit from being just a dull, average possession movie, because she to me, and the other performances, it made this feel more legit in how these characters felt like they were real, if that makes sense, because I liked her performance. I thought she felt like a real mother, and I thought that the daughter and her had a cool, like, relationship, and it felt real. So I did like her performance, and the other performances too, but it's just, the movie itself, besides that, is just lacking in everything else. It's just really dull. Like, it's a dull possession movie that, again, we've seen millions of times, but possession movies don't always hold my interest unless it's something like The Exorcist or like Poltergeist. Like, it's not something that, usually the bigger ones for this type of horror subgenre, like possession, I usually don't stay super interested or invested in, like, the lower grade ones, unless they're pretty bad, like, say, Amityville 4, which had the evil lamp, like, something like that. That's entertaining for me to watch because it's just so insane. But, like, movies like this where they play it straight and they're not high-tier, quote-unquote, possession movies like The Exorcist, they just are forgettable for the most part for me. And they're not like a slasher, where slashers, even if they're quote-unquote forgettable, like, by critics and everything, like, I still enjoy slashers more. That's my favorite horror subgenre. But possession movies, I'll still watch them. They just aren't as memorable for me. Like, I don't remember much about movies like this, unless, like I say, it's a big one like The Exorcist. But, like, this one, like I said, the positives are good. Like, it does have good performances. It does have, like, these characters feel real, and they feel like they are actually a family. But this just is typical possession movie. Nothing really interesting, nothing new. There's one thing I want to point out, too, that I thought was hilarious, is that they do this thing in the movie where the spirit is, like, literally, like, it'll show it on camera, like the camera doing a fast motion zoom, like, through a field, through a town, like, threw out in the country. Like, it's just literally flying fast. And it reminded me so much of Exorcist 2, except for it didn't have the noise like just going on like in Exorcist 2, where you just hear that random possession noise in Exorcist 2, which makes it really goofy in Exorcist 2. But I thought it was hilarious that they did the same thing in this, where it's a fast tracking camera flying across the country, just going really fast, zooming around. Like, it looked just like The Exorcist 2. Like, that cracked me up. And this played it more seriously than Exorcist 2, because the music was like fast-paced, like thrilling music. But in Exorcist 2, it's just really silly with the noise that the possessed Kikomu kid made. But I just thought that was a funny thing to point out, that it had a similar thing to Exorcist 2. But besides that, there's just nothing really to pull besides that. Like I said, repeating myself again, the performances are totally fine. These characters feel like they're a real family. But everything else is just plain. There's nothing interesting about it. It's just plain and dull. I really didn't think anything of this movie, and I'm honestly going to forget it after I finish this review, because I tried my best to remember a lot of this. But overall, it was just lacking in substance, but it had good performances, so I'd say I didn't mind watching it, but it's just really forgettable.